What's going on YouTube? My name is Jake. Welcome back to yet another video. Thank you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I am doing something that no one has ever done before on YouTube. I am doing something revolutionary that will set me apart from so many people. I am going to do a tier list on the Call of Duties. Yes, you have never seen this before. This is brand spanking new, and this will launch me into the stratosphere because of this unique concept that no one has ever done. What am I doing with this? So we are going from COD 4 to the current Modern Warfare 2 2022, and I'm going to base it on my personal opinion on how I played the game at the time and how I perceived the game as a whole. I don't care about community feedback, I don't care about sales, I don't care about competitive, I don't care about any of that. This is purely my list and how I felt playing the game at the time. There is no nostalgic feel to this. It is just how I felt at the time playing it, because if I did this and how I feel about it now, it's a completely different list. But this is going from how I felt playing it all those years ago, and I have to preface this by a fact now, is that we've got to start, right? Let's do the tier list first. So we've got God tier, awesome, great, okay, poor, and terrible. Right, that's out of the way. I have to start this by putting COD 4 into great, and I'm also putting World at War into great. Now look, you are going to hate me for this, and this is going to be just panned in the comments. Hear me out. I didn't play COD 4 and World at War in their prime. That is why I cannot give it a higher rating than what it is, because I played these games 3, 4, 5 years after they were released. So I never got to play it in the game's prime, which means any rating I give it truly isn't fair to the game as a whole. The fact that they are, probably both of them are God tier games, I'm not going to lie to you, but I don't feel right in myself giving them that because I never got to play it during their hype. I played it when the fan base had already moved on to other games. So I was just living out, what other people had already done. But let me just explain why. Like, COD 4 obviously revolutionized what Call of Duty is today. It turned it from what was basically tried to be a realistic World War shooter into a chaotic arcade military shooter. World at War then obviously flipped back to the world part, but they kept that arcadey feel. The campaigns for both games were phenomenal. The multiplayer in both games was brilliant. And with World at War introducing the greatest game mode ever made in any video game franchise ever in zombies. No other sub-game genre has ever blown up as much as zombies has in the community, in gaming as a whole. I don't feel right giving these games a higher tier because I never got to play them at that point. I discovered the World at War zombies, I think, via YouTube in like 2010, 2011, years after the game had been released. The people that played it at the time can give it a much higher rating than this. I just don't feel right overhyping it because I never got to play it during its hype. That's all I'm going to say on that. You can hate me as much as you want. I completely understand. I'm going to move on. Modern Warfare 2 goes straight into awesome. And the reason why is because this was my first Call of Duty. This game was the reason I started possibly playing first-person shooters as a whole. I don't remember as a kid playing a lot of first-person shooters. I played a lot of sports games, a lot of football games and racing games. Didn't really play a lot of shooting games. This was the first game that truly put me into that mindset and that perspective of there are other games outside of sports games that I can play. I played beat-em-ups, but nothing on this level. I bought this game on Xbox 360. My dad had an Xbox 360 at the time. I had no console on my own. He did not have live, so I had to just play the campaign over and over and over again, and I fell in love with it. This was the game that got me and my brother a shared PlayStation 3 as well. The campaign is so unbelievably amazing. The fact that it garnered worldwide attention for a shocking mission, and it still stands the test of time right now. The multiplayer, and I have to repeat this quite a bit, was a chaotic, over-the-top arcade shooter, which was exactly what the game was trying to be. It wasn't trying to be a realistic modern day shooter like your Battlefields. This was trying to be over the top and arcadey to stand out. Modern Warfare and World at War built upon a platform, and Modern Warfare 2 took that platform and threw it out the window and started its own platform. Was this a brilliant game? Yes, it was. Is it the best game ever? No, because there was so much wrong with it. You know, you can moan about the Commando Pro, the pre-patch Model 1887s, the UMP45, one-man army noob tubes, you know, how easy it was to get nukes back in the day. But that made Modern Warfare 2 exactly what it is. A chaotic, fun, over-the-top arcade shooter that helped launch so many content creators that you still watch to this day. This was one of the reasons I got into first-person shooters. I will never not love this game. You could remake it purposefully, whatever you want. Nothing will ever hold a candle to the original for me. Moving on, that being said, Black Ops 1 is God tier. This was the game that got me my own PlayStation 3. Mum, Dad, thank you, and I apologise, because if it wasn't for this game and the years of screaming and shouting at a television that got them so wound up with me, I wouldn't be where I am today playing Call of Duty. Black Ops 1 was also the first truly social game I remember playing. Playing with the guys that I went to school with. You know, I was always a sporty kid. If you were gaming, it was weird. It was different. But I had that group of people that I could game with, I could play with. That was the reason I loved this game as well. The campaign is absolutely phenomenal. The multiplayer, again, chaotic, arcadey, just over the top. A beautiful blend of colours that made this game just pop. And then to zombies, which I would play over and over and over again. I'm going to make everyone feel old now. The first time I played Black Ops 1, I went into Blockbuster with my mother about 3 weeks after it launched. I put £7 in my mum's hand. I rented this game for a week and I played the ever-loving hell out of it. That is how old I am, and I'm about to make so many other people feel old if you fell into that bracket. That was how I got introduced to Black Ops. That is how I got introduced to this game. I loved it. I still absolutely love it. And one of the reasons as well is this was one of the first... Well, with PlayStation, I don't know how it was with Xbox, people have to tell me. With PlayStation, back in the day, when you bought a map pack, you could give the code to up to 4 or 5 of your friends. So the person that went out and paid for that map pack would then go into school the next day and say to everyone, if you give me £2, £2.50, £3, I will give you that code. And I was working... I had a paper out at the time. I would put that money in their hand. I would get that code and I would play the living hell out of it. I absolutely adore this game so much. Modern Warfare 3, God tier. It goes ahead of Black Ops 1, and there is not another game, spoiler alert, there is not another game on this tier list that will go ahead of Modern Warfare 3. Why? Here's why. Modern Warfare 3, for me, was the perfect Call of Duty at the time. The campaign ended a fabulous trilogy of games with its absolutely incredible campaign. The shocking moments, the replayability, it had it all. The shocking turns and twists. Then you brought onto the multiplayer. Yes, was it very much bombarded with MP7s and ACRs? Yes, but could you still use other guns and be competitive? Absolutely. The maps, not all of them are great. Downturn comes to mind straight away, but it had so many beautiful maps, so many amazing maps. And what did this do? This was so much of a social game. Every month from January, we got Face Off as a playlist. We got Face Off maps. We got monthly DLC with this game. It introduced us to game modes like Team Defender, which comes back every now and then, which is one of the game modes I adored in Modern Warfare 3. It was so good. This is the only Call of Duty I have a 2 KD in and have still maintained it to this day over 10 years after this game was released. I can whack open my PlayStation 3 that I still have all these years later. I could plug it in and see my stats and feel nostalgic. This was the Call of Duty that got me into content creating. I remember building a 15 stack of game boxes, building myself a little Lego phone holder to put on top and recording my gameplays. And I would take advantage of the theatre mode. Let's take a twist on that. Call of Duty, if you're listening to this, if this gets out to you, bring back theatre mode. I understand nowadays that recording footage on whether on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC is now a million times easier than what it was back in the day. But bring back theatre mode. Like, you had such a cracking concept. I don't know why they ever got rid of it. Let's go back to where it was. But because of that, it helped make me a content creator. It was the first time I was posting onto a YouTube channel and getting views for my videos. It allowed me to meet people that I never would have met before, while never meeting in person. I had a group of people I went to school with that I played, and then I had YouTube buddies. One of the players that I used to play with, he won't remember this, but I tell you what, it's still something that sticks into my head. I remember getting my first friend on Call of Duty, on YouTube, sorry. That's how old YouTube was. You could actually go onto their channel and friend them. And due to this guy and everything, I would play with him like almost every single night. He introduced me to another friend, and then he introduced me to another friend who was a similar age to me. And I don't know if, again, somehow if this ever gets to him. His name was Lars. His gamer tag was LAVAOV, Lavov. He was from Sweden. And even me and him used to game, just the two of us, we got to know each other from that. But I was playing with one of them, and they introduced me to a guy who is still on YouTube to this day, still killing it to this day. And that man is Laggin24x. If you know Laggin, back in 2011, 2012, in Modern Warfare 3, I was able to play with him regularly. And it was such a cool experience. He helped me content create as well, because I found out he was a zombies creator on Black Ops 1. So I would go back on Black Ops 1, and he would do challenges. I would then do video responses. Again, boomers. Who remembers video responses on YouTube? I would do them, link it to his channel, and then my videos would blow up because of that. That is why I adore this game so much, because it helped shape me into who I am today as a content creator. I don't even have to mention survival with Spec Ops. How incredible! Like, you went from just having a regular Spec Ops mode to putting a survival playlist into it, and it becoming one of the best things ever. We didn't get zombies, but you got survival, and everyone knows Modern Warfare 3 survival was so freaking good. I cannot speak highly enough of this game as a whole. It was incredible. Black Ops 2. Now, this is a tricky one, because the campaign is absolutely superb. This campaign, it allowed you, it carried on from the Black Ops storyline going further into the future. It had multiple different endings that you could do via a branching storyline that you created. And at the same time, you could also go into campaigns and customize your loadout as well, which was such a unique concept. It was so good. And the multiplayer, it had shit maps. It had drone, for example, but it had top tier, amazing maps, amazing guns. This was the first Call of Duty to give us a DLC gun in the Peacekeeper. Who remembers the camos, the bacon camo and everything? The multiplayer was so good. The zombies is so hit and miss, though. It is so hit and miss, but I think even with it being hit and miss, and I'll explain why, it does have to go in God tier, and it has to go second. Like I said, nothing's going to beat Modern Warfare 3 for me, but Black Ops 2, Transit is terrible. That's another tier list on its own, trying to do a zombies map playlist, a tier list. Transit's terrible. The 3 individual maps on their own are fine. I would replay the hell out of Town. Die Rise is the second worst map ever created. Not a good start. And then you got Mob of the Dead. Then you got Buried. And then you got Origins. If it wasn't for those 3 games, this game would be here, possibly here. But because of those maps, it is going second. And again, replayability. I could play the ever-loving hell out of it. The day this game died to the hackers and the cheaters was the worst day in Call of Duty gaming history, in my honest opinion, because Black Ops 2 is one of the most hacked games ever, and it sucks to see. It is horrific. Now we go on to Ghosts, and Ghosts has to go into poor. Now, the thing with this is, like I said, this is what it was like back in the day. If you made Ghosts today, it would be top tier. It would be around here. But at the time, it tried to do too much. Now, we were all expecting to play it safe, and they said it. If you go back and watch the reveal trailer of this, and they even said they could have played it safe. They could have made Modern Warfare 4. They could have carried on that trilogy, but they decided to be different, and they created Ghosts. Now, the campaign is okay. When I talk about certain game, like it being memed, this is a meme with the "there ain't gonna be any ghosts" is a meme, right? And the multiplayer just did too much. It did too much. It took the Pick 10 system, which I didn't talk about in Black Ops 2, but it took that system and tried to be different with it. It created individual characters in the game that would then have their own particular loadout, and that was just too convoluted. It took what Modern Warfare 3 did with the 3 perk packages and actually did all right with it. But what it tried to do was it tried to get away from the Call of Duty-esque formula we had noticed at that point, because it started introducing destructive environments. Now, while this wasn't a bad thing, what was the one game at the time in 2013 that was doing that better than any other game? It was Battlefield. And this became a Battlefield reskin, and it sucked because of it, because Battlefield at the time was gaining momentum. This was the first time you had Call of Duty versus Battlefield, and Battlefield was winning because Ghost was received so poorly because it did too much. Why have a regular UAV in the air when you can put a SATCOM box on the floor? Oh, but no, to have a regular UAV effect on it, you had to have 3 of them. And they are like a one knife, and it was dead. Terrible. The thing with it is, though, is over the years, Ghost has gotten so much better. It's so much more playable, but at the time, it just wasn't good. And you could really see the fact they stood away from that and went, okay, where do we go from here? And where we went was jetpacks. This is going to piss people off because AW, I'm putting it in awesome. I can already hear. I can hear the typing. I can hear that clicking of keyboards of people moaning and shouting at me for putting AW ahead of COD 4 and World at War. And you know what? I'm here for it. Because do you know what? This is one of the most underrated Call of Duties we've ever had. And I'll tell you that for a fact now. I could easily put this ahead of Modern Warfare 2, and the more I talk, I very may well put it above it. The campaign for this is fantastic. Yes, memed, we got press F to pay respects, or whatever console you're on, press square, press X, whatever. But the campaign is legitimately, I think it's top 5. I think it's top 5 in Call of Duty history, that campaign. It is so good. And the characters in it are so brilliant. And then we move on to the multiplayer. Now, again, I could have some bias towards this because I got to play this at Eurogamer before the game went, before it went gold and then got released. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the double jumping, the boosting, everything about it I adored. And the game was just fun. Like, this came out of paintball mode. Bring paintball mode back. Call of Duty, Treyarch, Infinity Ward. Bring back paintball mode. Like, you give us a graphic content for your campaigns and everything. Bring back paintball mode, because I guarantee you your fan base will go up just because of putting paintball mode back into it. I said it. Paintball mode made Call of Duty funner than hell. You had a map in Black Ops 2 and then was remade a bunch of other times where it was quite literally in a paintball, like a paintball setting. Infinity Ward did that with Infinite War, or Sledgehammer did it with Advanced Warfare. They gave you a paintball mode, and it was so much fun. Like I said, the maps were so good. This is where we truly got great customization on characters. The one downside is, and it's a big downside, it's one of the things that killed so many of these games, was supply drops. Now, I spent money on supply drops. I'm not going to lie to you. I spent probably quite a lot of money on supply drops between Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, not so much on Infinite Warfare because I never played it too much, and World War 2. But do you know what? I absolutely adored it. And yes, we then got variants of guns. But I'll tell you what, although I played this game all the time and moved on to a new group of friends that were the ones I currently play with, I very rarely came across, your BAO, Obsidians or whatever it was and stuff like that. I very rarely came across them. But the multiplayer for me was so much fun. The one thing I didn't like, and the only reason I didn't like it is because they did it too late. When they introduced the grapple, I think in the second or third map pack, they should have done that earlier, because the grapple mechanic was a cool concept and a game that was already chaotic and over the top. Exo Survival was a bit bleh. It was a bit meh. And then they did something no one had seen. They decided to introduce Exo Zombies. Now, if you've never played Exo Zombies, I urge you, if you're in England, go to CEX, spend £4. If you're in America, go to GameStop. If you're in whatever country you're in, go to the equivalent of like a cheap game shop and buy this game and play Exo Zombies, because you have 4 maps and they are so amazing. The original map was a quality concept, a great way of getting you into the game. Like I said, like, look at the characters you had. You had John Bernthal, you had John Malkovich. I can't remember the other two off the top of my head, but you had actual celebrities like playing these and stuff like that. I know in Black Ops Call of the Dead, we had the Call of the Dead crew, but you had these. And then you went from that to Burger Town, which was a bit of an iffy map, I'm not going to lie to you. They tried to be a bit different by moving away from getting people to camp. And then you had Carrier, which was, for me, the best Exo Zombies map ever made because of the replayability of that. And then you had Descent. But this Zombies was such a unique experience. You had the Exo Zombies, you had normal zombies, then you had the Exo Zombies, and then you had the Exo Powered Zombies, the ones that would tear apart your HUD. They would tear apart your health, all that sort of stuff. It was great. It was such a unique concept with such a cool storyline to it as well. I urge you, spend the little amount of money it takes to buy this game. Don't buy it on Steam for like 20 quid still. That's a rip-off. Go and buy a used console version and play the hell out of it, because I'm going to. I plan on going and buying Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare so I can play it again, hands down. That is why it goes into awesome, and you can hate me for it. Black Ops 3 is going second in God tier. And again, you know, people could moan at me for that, but Black Ops 3 is very highly regarded as one of the best Call of Duties we've ever had. The campaign is so bad. It's so bad. It takes you on this roller coaster where you go up and you're thinking, oh, it's getting all right. And like you get to the frozen forest, which I love the frozen forest scene. It's such a tranquil scene for me. And then it just flies off a cliff and you're like, what the hell have I just played? The multiplayer is fantastic. It is so, so good. Yes, when supply drops started to become a paid thing and everything into it, yes, there was a lot of outrage for it. Yes, I bought a lot of them. But when you got those guns, when you picked up those guns off the floor and you went, okay, this is cool. Who remembers getting the Shadow Claw? If you didn't get the Shadow Claw, I feel sorry for you, because when I got those bad boys and I went into a game and I eventually got them dual wield, I didn't use anything else. I used those Shadow Claws to death. I absolutely loved them. The Black Ops 3 multiplayer is absolutely superb. A great mixture of maps, small, medium and big. It is one of the best multiplayer experiences, hands down. Before I talk about zombies, because that's where this game ultimately puts it into God tier, let's talk about Nightmares mode. Now, if you never played Black Ops 3 and you don't know what Nightmares mode is, let me educate you. Nightmares mode was basically you played the campaign in a different chronological order to how you originally played the campaign, but rather than shooting players, you shot zombies. And you played a different campaign while doing zombies at the same time. A slightly unique twist to the campaign formula, where the fact that the storyline would change, allowing for the introduction of the zombies to come into it, and it was so freaking good. Why do we not have more of this? Nightmares mode was absolutely superb, and I need more of it in the next Treyarch game. If I get a Nightmares mode, I will praise to Jesus, I will change my life if I get a Nightmares mode. I'm telling you that for a fact now. But the zombies, like, it's so good. For me, Shadows of Evil, it's a top tier map. It's not one of my best. I am not a fan of Shadows of Evil, but I can appreciate why it's such a good map. But I bought the season pass for the Giant, and did I play the Giant every single day pretty much? Yes, I did. And it was the best thing going. You then have Der Eisendrache, top tier map. The Zetsumoto Shiba, bit iffy. Gorod Krovi, top tier map. Revelations could have been top tier map, but let me tell you this: when you logged into Revelations and you walked around the map and you got nostalgia hitting you in every single part of your body, when you went from Kino here to Verrückt to Origins, let me tell you, you marked the fuck out. Let me tell you that I remember watching the initial reactions from some of the people like Noah and everything on the Zombies community. It was the best. And you know one of the reasons why? Again, this could easily take Modern Warfare 3, but I have such a high threshold and candle for that game as to why it could be so much higher. Who remembers Zombie Chronicles? That's right, we got an entire map pack, we got an entire DLC years later of nothing but remade zombies maps. From Kino, we got Moon again, Origins came back, and it reintroduced a lot of people to speed running these maps because it was so much easier with the Gobblegum format. Oh my god, we've asked for Zombies Chronicles 2. I would have taken Zombie Chronicles 2 in Cold War because I love that so much. That is one of the reasons why Black Ops 3 is just such a good game, hands down. Infinite Warfare, however, on that spectrum, is going into poor. And you know what? I'm actually going to put it ahead of Ghosts because this game was so widely panned. I remember watching that trailer and seeing the dislikes to like ratio. Oh my god, it was it was a slaughterhouse. How did that ever get lit? Oh my god, it was so bad. The campaign, I haven't played it fully, but I know for a fact it's absolutely fantastic. The multiplayer was weird because rather than just unlocking and packing, so to speak, the special editions of the guns, you could craft them, which was a cool concept. I quite liked that idea. Like, you had to grind the game to then buy it. But the idea was crafting it, you had to play the game for so long. And the problem was that Infinite Warfare's multiplayer wasn't very replayable. It really wasn't. Even the Legendary playlist, which had the UMP 45, the Intervention, the SPAS 12, it didn't do enough. And no matter what you did with Infinite Warfare, nothing was ever enough with it. And it was at a time when Call of Duty didn't know what to do. It was trying to appease to a certain caliber of players, and it neglected a lot of its OG fan base. And that's one of the reasons why Infinite Warfare is so poor. And Infinite Warfare Zombies, it's got a fan base. I didn't care for it. I played 10 minutes of it. I saw dancing clowns running towards me and everything, and I turned it off. I'm not going to lie, I hate Infinite Warfare Zombies. I really do. And that might trigger people, but I don't care. I hated it. Like, it's just not a good... It's a representation of the game that you had dancing zombie clowns in your zombies mode. Zombies is meant to be a scary game mode to an extent. The original in World at War was scary. In Black Ops 1, it had its scare factors to it. In Infinite Warfare, it turned it into a joke. So I don't have much more to say to that. COD 4 Remastered. I'm gonna put it in okay. And the reason I'm putting it into okay is with the campaign, you got additional bits you got to do. So if you played the original COD 4, when you went and did the FNG mission, there was actually meant to be another part of the campaign you did beforehand to throw grenades and do all that sort of stuff. You got that in the remastered one, and when you then went on to the FNG one, you obviously got the leaderboards, and you had the Infinity Ward leaderboard there as well, so you could beat their times. I'm not gonna lie to you, I spent hours getting the best time. I think my best time, I'd have to find out. I think I have it downloaded on my old Xbox One, and I plan on doing old school COD content on it. I'm pretty certain I got it down to under 13 seconds. I'm pretty certain. But I replayed the hell out of it. The multiplayer, while it in extent captured the essence of what the original had, it just never felt the same, and that was the issue. And then supply drops came in, and then we got new weapons, and then the community revolted. And like I said, this isn't a community thing, but by this time, I had already stopped playing Modern Warfare Remastered. I had stopped playing Infinite Warfare. I was playing Black Ops 3 religiously. I was just going back and playing that game because these two games just didn't do it for me at all. World War 2, I said it. It's terrible. Again, campaign, I didn't complete the whole thing of it, but I know for a fact it's very good. The multiplayer, what were we doing? what were we doing with it? It launched with 9 maps. 9! Every single other one had about 15, 16. This had 9. But don't worry, we had War. How many people played War? 1 in 50? 1 in 15? It was so low. But you had that. Alright, it was a cool concept. Had Headquarters. It was meant to be the best thing ever in Quarter. Meant to be the most social thing. And it launched, and it was broken. And you couldn't you couldn't have the Headquarters mode for weeks. What was the point? And then the supply drops came in. And then it just went to hell. And then when it came to the multiplayer, what did we get in the multiplayer? We basically got Ghost 2. Because you didn't have perk packages. No, you got provisions. What was the point? Like, there was nothing wrong with the original perk packages in any of the games. But no, World War II decided to be completely different. The one thing, the reason I would potentially put it into poor, very bottom of poor, the zombies at least was cool for me. I remember playing zombies for the first time, and genuinely, when did this game come out? Was it 2017? So I would have been, that's about, 6 years ago now? So I would have been about 21. So I was an adult. I got scared playing it. I remember the first time playing it, going to that giant gaping hole and seeing those shrieking things come out and attacking you. I got legitimately scared. That made me feel good. I remember going before you had the power on, and it was pitch freaking black, and all you heard in your headphones, if you were playing with friends, was the screams and the shouting, and it was legitimately a scary, bone-chilling experience. That was what Zombies was. I loved World War II. I didn't play enough of it, I do admit, because I'd stopped playing this game. Like, I'd stopped playing it, and again, I was going back and playing any other game. I think around this time was Battlefield 1 came out, I think. I could be wrong. But I played the ever-loving hell out of Battlefield 1. I didn't play anything. All I wanted to do was play Battlefield 1. So, sorry World War 2, but that, you just weren't a memorable title for me. Black Ops 4. In my opinion, the worst Call of Duty ever made. Campaign! What's a campaign? I know you couldn't really follow on from the Black Ops trilogy of campaigns. Look, I mean, you had Black Ops 1, amazing. Black Ops 2, phenomenal. Black Ops 3 was poor overall. Black Ops 4 decided, we're not even going to give you a campaign. But what we are going to do is you can have ways to play the operators in multiplayer. Nobody asked for that. Nobody. Not a soul. Why did you do it? And then the multiplayer. They got rid of the minimap. They tried something different. They had Fog of War. What is this, Command and Conquer? We're having a Fog of War in this? You had manual healing, which for a lot of people was fun. A lot of people didn't like it. I was one of the ones that didn't like it. I wasn't into... I didn't want it to be a realistic shooter. I didn't want to have to keep jabbing myself and stuff like that. The maps, that was just so poor. Like, the Sandstorm versions of maps, what was the point? It just didn't make any sense. And the zombies, I'm sorry, it was just so bad. It launched with so many maps to begin with. Let me think. So you had Voyage of Despair, which is an awful, awful map. 9, which is a complicated but an alright map. You had Blood of the Dead, which was a cool concept. It was Mob of the Dead with the Origins crew. And then again, it just fell off a cliff on that one. And then I think you also, if you bought the season pass, you then got Classified, or the Black Ops pass, whatever it was in this game. And Classified, I never got to play, but I know for a fact it looked pretty cool. But this was just a terrible Call of Duty. If you like it, all power to you, but I hated it. It was not for me at all. There was no redeeming factors about it. The Black Ops pass system was so poor. And the fact that they spent so much time on Blackout than they did the actual game, that's what truly killed it for me. I had about 1 or 2 months of quality gameplay on this game, and then I hated it ever since that, because it just kept focusing on Blackout. And I didn't want to play Blackout, but everything was Blackout. It's like, oh, can we get something in multiplayer? Oh, look at this new thing you can do in Blackout. Yeah, but what about the multiplayer over here? Can we get something new? Blackout, new this, Blackout. That's all it was. And it was just, no, I didn't need that. I didn't need that in my life, I'm sorry. But for me, Black Ops 4 is the worst Call of Duty, hands down. Modern Warfare 2019. I'm putting it in great. Now, again, I could get some hate for this. I'm not going to lie to you. The campaign is superb. You know, I think every Modern Warfare game has just been absolutely superb with its campaign. This campaign, again, one of the things I have hated over recent years with Call of Duty is they've made the campaign shorter. Here's an idea. If you're going to charge £70 for a game, give me a 2 or 3 hour campaign. I don't care if everyone else hates it. Give me that, because I will sit there and I'll play the ever-loving fuck out of it. I adore the campaigns because it gives me an idea of how good a Call of Duty is. And Modern Warfare had a superb campaign, and I need more of it in my life. The multiplayer was... This is when we got the gunsmith, and this is where we started getting, like, not quite tuning where we got now and everything, but this is where we started getting truly custom guns. This is what launched TikToks of, this is the perfect build for this gun. You want to do this. Watch it shred. That's what we got from it. But the multiplayer was chaotic, and it was hellacious. But it was fun. Like, for the first time, I think, since Modern Warfare 3, it was a game I absolutely thrived at. You know, I was getting stupidly high kill games with ridiculous support for teammates in support game modes like domination and kill confirmed. And I loved it. I would get so angry at it, but I loved it deep down. And, you know, and then you have Spec Ops as well. One of the things that puts it so low down is the fact that obviously it was a PlayStation exclusive to get survival, and we didn't get it until October, so quite literally a month before Cold War came out. That I didn't like, so yeah, that I'm not a fan of. But overall, yeah, I'm gonna put it in great because I think it was a really cool game. Cold War, it's an awesome game, and let me tell you why. The campaign, absolutely superb. If you played the Cold War campaign, if you got to the very, very end and you could change the ending however you wanted and the game acknowledged you changing it, it was great. I did it by accident. I just started running in different directions and I started getting like the main character telling you off. It was great. The multiplayer was so hit and miss though. For every sort of good map and the good guns and everything you had with it, then you had the really poor maps and you had the really poor guns. But one of the reasons it puts it so high up is we got Prop Hunt. We got Prop Hunt in this game, and I'll tell you what, I have never had so much fun with a group of friends than playing Prop Hunt. 5, 6 of us in a lobby going into Prop Hunt matches, even doing private matches, we would sit there for 2 or 3 hours playing nothing but Prop Hunt, nothing but party games, because the game was quite dead. And you know what? Cold War, I respect the ever-loving hell out of you for doing that, because you revitalised proper social gaming for me, because I have never laughed so much, I have never cried so much with laughter, I have never just had so much fun playing party games like I did in Cold War. And to top it off, the zombies was superb. I know people are going to give me hate on that, but the Cold War zombies is top tier. The maps, simplistic, they're easy, the Easter eggs are very simple too. This was the first time I got into Easter egg hunting, because the players, the mates I'm friends with are very big into Easter eggs and stuff like that. So I started getting involved in it as well. I was looking up tutorials, I was looking up hints and stuff like that. I absolutely adore this game. I got so confident playing this game that the very last map, Forsaken, I was speedrunning. And I think I'd have to look somewhere in my party chat and everything, in our the chat. I'm pretty certain I did the Forsaken Easter egg in under 25 minutes. And I remember thinking that was the best thing ever. I think the record's like 20 minutes, which is just stupid. But I remember being so gassed because the game is so easy. And I love that about zombies. I love how easy the game was. Cold War is again such an underrated Call of Duty. And I think years down the line, it's started to get a bit more love now. Because of how good it was. And even, like I said, the zombies as well. We got Outbreak, which was such a cool concept that spawned 10 maps on its own, did Outbreak. If you open up Cold War now and go into zombies, there are 10 Outbreak maps with just different variations of missions and everything. I really, really did like Cold War, not going to lie to you. Vanguard, it's going in okay. Now, excuse me, I've been talking for so long. The campaign is good, right? But I'm not going to lie to you. The multiplayer is chaotic. The one thing I loved about this, it kept with the gunsmith system that had been very good in Modern Warfare 2019 and Cold War. But the one thing I do love is that Sledgehammer listened to the community. When it removed the Das Haus, what is it? Was it Das Haus and Shipment playlist? I think it was. I could be wrong. But when they removed it temporarily, the fans revolted. So what did they do the next day? They put a patch up, they put it right back into it. They never took it down ever again. If the community wanted something, they're like, okay, we'll agree with that, and they went for it. That is one of the reasons I love Sledgehammer, because they listen to the fans, they listen to the audience. The problem with this game, the one thing that made Cold War really good was the zombies. Because what in the fresh, loving fuck was Vanguard Zombies? You opened it up to this desolate waste, like desolate snow map, which was basically a multiplayer map, and then you had missions, and you were thinking, well, this is just Outbreak, and that's all it was. It was a smaller version of Outbreak, and it was shite. Then it took 3 months to get a round-based map, and it was just Shi No Numa. And don't get me wrong, I love Shi No Numa, and then it expanded on Shi No Numa by putting in additional parts. That was cool, but it was just so boring. Like, the storyline was so bad. I didn't even know how it ended because I stopped playing. It was just such a bad idea. Like, we didn't need zombies back to back, even though it was developed by Treyarch. And I generally think it was designed by the interns at Treyarch, because Vanguard Zombies is just awful. It just is. And now we end. We end with the current Call of Duty, the supposedly 2-year Call of Duty. If you've heard the rumours, we're getting another Call of Duty in 2023, which is meant to be Modern Warfare 2 2. For the time being, it's going to go here. The campaign is absolutely superb. Again, I absolutely love this campaign. The multiplayer is just so up and down, and it's got more downs than it has ups. Like, when me and my friends play multiplayer on this, we play it for about an hour and a half, and then we end up going into custom games, creating ludicrous game modes and ludicrous loadouts, and playing free-for-all. And we will do that for hours, because that's how boring the multiplayer for this game can be. DMZ is fun, but DMZ is taken way too seriously. DMZ is meant to be like a casual alternative to your Warzone experience. And until that does really get fit, I haven't got a problem with PvP, but it needs to be sort of toned down a little bit, just for me. Like, I'm a bit, I'll say it. But Modern Warfare 2 at the moment, like, we're in Season 2 by the time I'm making this video, and we've just got Dome, which is fun, but I can't give the game any higher than okay. Like, I could even put it into poor, I really could, but I'm going to keep it in okay for the time being. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to change anything, because I think overall, I think I'm quite happy with everything. Like I said, list is not going to be for everyone. This is my personal list. It's okay, in my opinion. I quite like it, but I know for a fact there'll be going to be people that hate it. If you hate it, I completely understand. But let me know what your tier list would be with Call of Duty. If you want to see more tier lists as well, like I said, I could do a zombies one, which I'm really interested to do. I could do a campaign-esque type one. Any sort of thing like that, I'm happy to do. Even tier lists on other games like Need for Speed, which I would love to do, by the way. Let me know if you want to see that down below, and I'll see what I could do with it. But if you've gotten to the end of this extremely long video, thank you so much. Go out and get yourself some cookies, get some whatever drink that you fancy, and just take it from me. Have a fantastic day, whether it's the morning, the evening, the night. Go and have a great day tomorrow. The world's too short. Life is too short to have grudges and vendettas over things. Just live life to its fullest. Be happy. Do things that make you happy. If it makes you an outcast to people, it makes you an outcast. Just be yourself. Be true to yourself. Have a lovely day, guys. Take it easy.